Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel, my friends. Today is the day for Star Trek, the original series, Season 1, Episode 18? Is it 18? Just getting this in, it's 18. I can't believe that we're here already. Episode 18, The Arena. My friends, full disclosure, in going into all of this with the original series, I only knew 2 bits of information about 2 separate episodes. One, I know that Space Seed is the first appearance of Khan. 2, I know that in the arena, the Gorn appear. At least that's what I've been told. I'm very, very hopeful that that's the case. Also, I actually broke my sequence of uniforms because I was supposed to be wearing red in this episode. But a buddy of mine said, "Oh, you're watching the arena next?" And I said, "Yeah." "Wear your Kirk." And I was like, okay, that's sort of a spoilery, but okay. So I have my Kirk stuff on. All right, my friends. So before we get into any of that, if you could do me a favor, hit that like button, smash the subscribe, ringy ding ding that bell for notifications, and you'll be alerted anytime we go live with Star Trek, the original series, Lower Decks, The Expanse, any and everything. You'll be made aware and can join us, my friends. In addition to that, if you'd like any of our shows early, the link to the Patreon is in the description. There you'll find them several days early, several episodes ahead, and they're full-length versions, if that is something that you want to see. But my friends, all that is then, and this is now. And now it is time for Star Trek, the original series, Season 1, Episode 18, The Arena. I can't wait, my friends, so let's wait no longer. Prepare to engage maximum warp reaction, and away we go. Look at that beauty! Green planet.
I wonder if he brought his personal chef along with him to Cestus 3.
Probably. Rank hath its privileges.
How well we both know that, huh?
That almost seemed like an improv right there.
Be sure to bring along your tactical people. I've got an interesting problem for them.
We'll beam down immediately, Commodore. Kirk out.
I wonder why he's so insistent that our tactical aides come down.
He probably wants additional advice.
For defenses?
Isn't it enough the Commodore's famous for his hospitality? I, for one, could use a good non-reconstituted meal.
Doctor, you are a sensualist.
You bet your pointed ears I am. Ready whenever you are, Captain.
Oh, everybody's joking. Oh, that poor bastard in the red shirt. I think you're making a one-way trip. By my count, the only red shirts that have died in Season 1 so far are Rayburn and Matthews, both in What Little Girls Are Made Of.
Kirk to Enterprise. Red alert.
What is it, Captain?
Cestus 3 has been destroyed.
Oh, who the hell, who called you? Oh, it's a trap. Okay, Jim's telling us about the Final Frontier. We have some time to talk. I cannot love this show anymore. You know, laughing, joking, oh, ha, 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 you're this and that. Oh, you bet your pointy ears I am. Ha, ha, ha. Let's get down there. Hospitality, non-reconstituted meal. And you get down there and the place is destroyed. Already love the setup. Are you kidding me? I love this show. I really, really do. I in many ways, I'm mad at myself for not having watched it earlier, but I really think that watching it now, even with the fact that I've seen like the movies and things like that, I think it means more to me as an old guy. I don't know why. I think it's fun watching like older guys do stuff. Whatever. Let's get into this. By the way, this looks like an arena.
Those messages we got, Captain. The one directing us here yesterday.
Faked. All this happened several days ago. Early, stick with me.
Oh.
Impulse is that direction. Very weak, possibly a survivor.
Come on, Bones.
Oh, this is great.
On landing, we have discovered that the outpost has been destroyed.
Captain, over there!
Look at this. Oh, there is a survivor. He is wrecked.
Internal injuries for certain. He's in a bad way, Captain.
Keep him alive, Bones. I want to know what's been happening here.
We're getting some ADR here.
Survivors?
Not survivors. Not warm-blooded. Living creatures. But not human.
Where?
Everywhere.
Azimuth 93 degrees, range 1570 yards.
I wonder what they used here. I mean, this is... I don't think that's Matt painting in the background.
Hello?
Well, so much for Rayburn and Matthews being the only red shirts dead.
We can't beam you up. I've just rigged up defensive screens.
Keep those screens up.
firing phases, Captain.
Don't you dare do anything to my beauty.
Are you under attack, Captain? We could drop screens.
Keep those screens up. Worry about us
Have
when the
to.
ship is safe.
Get in the chair, Sulu.
If they lower those screens to beam us up, they'll be open to phaser attack.
Holy shit. They are being shelled.
We'll have to make do with what we've got.
Jesus. Dear God. Great setting.
Lay down fire on coordinates Mr. Spock gave you. Even if you don't see them.
Yeah, you gotta just make them think that they see you.
You remember the layout of this place? The arsenal?
About 100 yards in that direction.
Spock remembers everything. Jesus! They have absolutely no concerns with putting Bill Shatner in harm's way.
We return fire with all phaser banks. Negative against this deflector screen.
Arm your photon torpedoes.
Ooh! Have they ever mentioned photons?
Mr. Sulu, photon torpedoes locked on. Photon torpedoes locked on, Captain.
Navigator of the week. First time photons?
Sulu, our communications are being interfered with.
They're jamming you.
I get this straight. Do anything you think necessary to protect the ship. Leave orbit, maximum warp, anything. Clear?
Clear, Captain, but you...
Never mind about me. Protect my ship.
You have your orders, Sulu.
Contact me when you can. Kirk out.
Do what you can, Sulu. Save the ship. Boy, they are shelling the absolute shit out of this place. Oh my God, I have chills over my body.
How is he, Doctor?
I know everybody loves
He'll
you.
be dead in half an hour if we don't get him some decent care.
Just say that right in front of him. You'll be dead in half an hour, son.
They're moving. I've got to get to the captain.
Oh, Spock, you are the... Oh, you're not the man. You are the Vulcan. Oh my God. Those flash charges are loud as fuck.
If I were them, I'd go to the high ground on the right. I'd make it 1,200 yards, azimuth 87.
Nice. Thank God they got tactical down here, which seems strange that the faked message asked to bring your tactical personnel down. Fuck your mortar, man. Holy shit. Good thing we brought the battlefield nukes.
Notify the transporter room. Lock onto us. We're beaming up.
Aye, aye, sir.
That was a lot of rapid taps there, Sulu.
We have beamed back to the Enterprise and immediately set out in pursuit of the alien vessel. Can you tell me what happened?
They saved this guy.
They knocked out our phaser batteries with their first salvo. From then on, we were helpless. We weren't expecting anything. Why should we? We didn't have anything anyone would want. Signaled them. We called up. Tried to surrender. We had women and children. I told them that. I begged them. They wouldn't listen.
Oh, good job, dude.
Hit us a full day before you got there, Captain.
All faked.
Why did they do it? Why?
Testing you. They're seeing what you're made of.
There has to be a reason.
They're looking at response patterns.
Getting the Enterprise to come to Cestus 3, getting us and our whole crew to come ashore.
Very clever. As to the reason,
The reason is crystal clear. The Enterprise is the only protection in this section of the Federation. Destroy the Enterprise, and everything is wide open.
you allude to invasion, Captain. Yet positive proof has
I have all the proof I need on Cestus 3.
Not necessarily, sir. Several possible explanations come.
How can you explain a massacre like
Yeah, explain that, Spock.
invasion?
At the very least, they're probing for attack for an invasion.
If we can keep them in the dark as to our strength, they'll never dare move against us. Captain de Helmsman,
If you can blow them up.
stand by for firing orders.
Spock, if you got something, tell him.
We are going into battle. All hands, battle stations. Red alert. I repeat, red alert. This is no drill.
Ooh. Don't you
Captain's log.
do anything to my beauty.
We are in hot pursuit of the alien vessel which destroyed the Earth outpost on Cestus 3. All scanners lock into computer banks. I want a complete record of this.
Yeah, get everything you can from them.
Anything on intelligent life forms?
Nothing specific, Captain. Unscientific rumors only. More like space legends.
That's another thing Star Trek came up with, the earbud.
Gone to warp 6 also.
Oh, shit. How fast can the Enterprise go?
Warp factor 7.
Aye, sir.
Scotty, what do you think about that, bud?
A sustained warp 7 speed will be dangerous, Captain.
Thank you, Mr. Spock. I mean to catch them.
We'll either catch them or we'll blow up, Captain. They may be faster than we are.
We'll see.
They'll have to prove it.
Yep. That's exactly right. They can't be that advanced, or they'll run through you.
If the aliens go unpunished, they'll be back, attacking other Federation installations.
I merely suggest that a regard for sentient
There's
life.
no time for that.
I'm with Jim. I understand Spock's point of view 100%, and you might say it's an emotional response, but they killed a lot of people.
Out here, we're the only policemen around. And a crime has been committed. Do I make myself clear?
Very clear, Captain.
I'm delighted, Mr. Spock.
I'm delighted.
Report, Mr. Sulu.
Alien ship maintaining interval, Captain. Now at warp 7.
You can't catch them. Can you knock them off? Can you get a shot off on them? Are they at too extreme range?
Warp factor 8.
Ooh, 7's bad, 8's worse. You're getting up in rarefied air now.
Captain to phaser banks. All components at battle ready.
Phaser to bridge. Alert status. All weapons.
I love the crosstalk.
Yes, Mr. Sulu. Closing on target, sir.
Good.
They can't go 8.
Captain, sensors report we're being scanned.
Scan them right back.
No, sir, it's from their solar system ahead. It's on an unusual wavelength.
Mr. Spock.
It would appear as someone is curious about us.
What are they scanning for?
Captain,
Yes, what is it?
the alien. It's slowing down. It's going sublight, sir.
A lot of movement lore in this one.
It stopped, dead in space.
He may be turning to fight.
No, sir. They're just dead out there.
Just dead.
And we've got him.
Range is 1700.
Oh, another Sulu countdown. I love these.
1550 and closing, sir.
Warp 6, Warp 5, 4, Warp 3, Warp 1.
It's a dampening field. They hit it too. Listen to the crosstalk. Love it.
It's impossible. Warp 8, have you lost your mind?
Same as the alien, Captain.
You're immobilized. It's that planet.
Phaser banks. Report.
We're all inoperative here, Captain.
No power to weapons, no power to navigation or engines.
Damage control. Report.
All systems report normal, Captain. No ascertainable damage.
You're stopped and you can't fight.
We're being held in place, Captain. Apparently from that solar system.
This far out, that's impossible.
We are being held.
Spock's like, I don't give a shit what you think. I'm telling you what's happening. I wish we could see that ship a little bit better. Can you magnify that, Jim? Ooh. It's power fluctuations. Oh, shit.
We are the Metrons.
Metrons.
You will be taken there, as will the captain of the Gorn ship which you have been pursuing.
Gorn.
You will each be totally alone.
What makes you think you can interfere?
It is you who are interfering.
Yeah. You came into their yard fighting.
The winner of the contest will be permitted to go his way unharmed. The loser, along with his ship, shall be destroyed in the interests of peace.
2 men enter, 1 man leaves. Oh, shit! Oh, there he is. Oh, the blink's pretty good.
Like most humans, I seem to have an instinctive revulsion to reptiles. A dangerously clever opponent.
He's got a bigger stick, Jim. Yeah, that stick's not going to cut it. He's got a Louisville Slugger here. Oh my God. Well, you can dodge that all day, Jim. Ooh, woo, woo. Fight choreography. Any chance we can speed this up a little bit, boys? Looks like we're fighting underwater. Well, he's got to be stronger than Jim. This guy's not very fast. Is that ice? Is it cold here? Just said, bring it on. I'm slow but tough. Slow but sturdy. He said, allow me. Oh, he's going to pick this one up. He said, do you even lift, Jim? Dear God. Yeah, run. Run about a half mile. It'll take him about 6 or 7 days to get there, and you can come up with a plan then.
How about bypassing the transformer banks? Feed the impulse engines directly.
I tried that, sir.
Scotty, I'm on it. Don't tell me to do my job, Spock.
No indication of its composition. Gravimetric, magnetic, electronic.
Nothing, sir.
God, Nichelle Nichols, absolutely beautiful. I love the way she plays Uhura. Love it.
Please get it to Starfleet Command.
It's the first time they said Starfleet, too.
There's very little here, scrub brush, rocks, an abundance of mineral deposits, but no weapons in the conventional sense. Still, I need to find one. Barehanded, against the Gorn, I have no chance.
I mean, can you make some type of like simple weapon, like a catapult, or if any of these minerals are like flammable or something, you might be able to make like a fire pit or a trap of some kind, but you need fire for that, so.
In 1,000 cubic parsecs of space, and there's absolutely nothing we can do to help him.
Yeah, you don't even know where he beamed to or where he was taken to. No clue. Learn all you can about that ship. If everything else is still on, I'd be scanning the absolute shit out of that Gorn craft. Okay, so you got bamboo. I'm gonna write this down. Or at least it looks like bamboo. Reeds of some kind. Vines. Yeah, he's working on the vines. Can make like a snare. What's he doing? Tying that to a boulder? What's this? There's red. Is that salt?
A large deposit of diamonds on the surface.
Diamonds? You can use those.
An incredible fortune in stones.
Some other semi-precious stones. I guess it's rubies or something.
Yet the Metrons said there would be weapons. If I could find them.
Uh-oh. Time to move another 100 yards to buy yourself another couple hours. What's he working on? He was wrapping vines around a boulder. I'm telling you what. Oh, he's being very industrious. What does he have? Diamond too? It looks like, is that coal? I mean, it would make sense. Coal and diamonds. Hey, Bill, we need you to climb a mountain in this episode. I'm not sure if that's Bill or not, but it was him running up the one flat part. And surely he had to run about 2 or 3 miles. Oh, he's making a blade. What is that? What is he making a blade out of? Like obsidian? I'm going to just put down black. It looks like black stone. Well, this is going to kill him if it hits. Did it get him? Jesus, good shot, Jim. Holy hell. It's kind of gruesome, though, Jim. I mean, just, full disclosure. Now, if this guy gets up from this, we got some big problems. Looks like he's pinned anyway. Oh, we got some big problems. Is he trapped, though? He is not. Is he hurt? No. Jim, that's a trap. It's a trap. It's a trap. Oh, that was a hell of a good trap. Oh, shit. Oh, Jim, you're in a bad way, buddy. That had to have broken his leg, too. Jim, don't just sit there and take it. That's not my Jim Kirk. Well, the good thing is, this guy's still underwater, so... I thought lizards were supposed to be quick. This guy's got a... Wow. This guy's got a really slow metabolism, so he can keep his gains.
Our channels are open. Come in, please.
Don't question him, McCoy. This is a smart move. Reach out to them. Parlay. What is that? Is that just sand?
Unless I find the weapon the Metron mentioned.
My ADR is way off.
Native sulfur, diamonds. This place is a mineralogist's dream.
Wow, that's really bad. Sulfur? Diamonds?
There is something about sulfur. Something very old. Something, if only I could remember.
I am awful at chemistry, everybody, so I'm not going to be able to figure out what you can use sulfur for. He had obsidian, it looked like, that he had made a knife out of. Here they are.
We are the Metron.
Hi.
We would suggest you make whatever memorial arrangements, if any, which are customary in your culture. We believe you have very little time left.
Oh, thanks.
We will allow you to see and hear what is now transpiring.
Well, that's great. You get to watch him die.
If there were only some way we could contact him. Yes, indeed, Doctor. If only there were. You'll notice the substance encrusting that rock.
Salt?
Unless I'm mistaken, it's potassium nitrate.
How the hell do you know that, Spock? Potassium nitrate. What have you figured out, Jim? Because I'm way too dumb to figure this out. Can you mix these things together to make like a...
This is your opponent, Earthling. I have heard every word you have said.
All right, what do you want?
I weary of the chase.
Because I'm super slow.
You established an outpost in our space.
You butchered helpless human beings.
Destroyed invaders, as I shall destroy you.
Okay, so they saw it as an incursion.
Was Cestus 3 an intrusion on their space? It may well be possible, Doctor. We know very little about that section of the galaxy. And we could be on the wrong. Perhaps.
That's a response that doesn't fit the crime, though. I mean, if they thought it was an invasion, sure, but they didn't notice on an entire colony being built. Yeah, his leg's goofed up. Okay. Bamboo. What's he looking for? A tube?
Good.
Spock approves. Spock, what have you sussed out? I need some, I'm stupid. Help me out here.
He knows, Doctor. He has
That's right.
reasoned it out.
What's he sussed out? Okay, he's got a length of vine. Length of vine. I hate being stupid. I don't know anything about chemistry. This is probably super easy. You know, it's a clever way, too, to injure him and make him as slow as the Gorn.
First, potassium nitrate.
Okay.
And now, if he can find some sulfur and a charcoal deposit, or ordinary coal.
Well, he had the coal. Sulfur. I don't know what potassium nitrate does. I have no clue. What's he need the rope for? Is he making like an explosive? Is the rope going to be like a fuse? He still has to light it, though. He doesn't have a... Maybe I can keep talking so I sound super stupid.
Recall your basic chemistry, Doctor.
Basic chemistry, great. Can he make an explosion?
Stop running.
Is he making like a gun? How's that thing not going to blow up in his hands? It's being very scientific with this amounts, too. This has to be just like an explosive. I'm going with explosive. And it's going to shoot the diamonds out, but I don't know if it's a bomb or a directional weapon like a gun. Oh, he was just using it to carry it. Oh, okay. Sorry, Jim. I made fun of you. Jesus, Jim. Okay. He's got a mixture now.
If he has the time, Doctor.
Say it, Spock. Spock, I'm too damn dumb to understand this. This is a cool-ass way to figure out something. Oh, is this like a musket now? Yeah, okay. Is it gunpowder? I just don't know how you keep it from exploding in your hands. Jesus, you got like one chance at this, Jim. I mean, he's 50 feet away. You've only got about 20 or 30 minutes. That guy must be completely blind in that suit. You got him. He's definitely hurting. Mercy, Jim?
No, I won't kill you. Maybe you thought you were protecting yourself when you attacked the outpost.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to. I mean, he's goofed up. He might die anyway.
Do you hear?
This is the Thunderdome ending. This wasn't part of the deal. Bust a deal. Face the whale. Well, hello there.
You're a Metron?
Does my appearance surprise you, Captain?
Sorta.
You surprise me, Captain.
With Mercy?
By sparing your helpless enemy, who surely would have destroyed you. You demonstrated the advanced trait of mercy.
What happened to the Gorn?
I sent him back to his ship. If you like, I shall destroy him for you.
Well, he would have done that.
We can talk. Maybe reach an agreement.
Diplomacy. Spock's idea from the beginning.
You are still half savage.
Huh. Thanks.
We will contact you when we are ready.
Captain, are you all right?
I don't know.
I feel funky.
All right, everybody, back to your posts. Let's get out of here.
Is that our leave line?
500 parsecs from where we are.
I'm trying to figure it out, Mr. Sulu. Just plot a course for us back to Cestus 3.
Aye, sir.
What do you got for him, Spock?
After you touched off your primitive cannon, Captain, we lost the picture the Metron was sending us.
You saw what happened down there?
I would be interested in knowing what finally happened.
We're a most promising species, Mr. Spock, as predators go. Did you know that?
I've frequently had my doubts.
And maybe in 1,000 years or so, we'll be able to prove it. Take us back to where we're supposed to be, Mr. Sulu. Warp Factor 1.
Warp Factor 1.
1,000 years, Captain.
Well, that gives us a little time.
All right, my friends, we just got done watching Star Trek, the original series, Season 1, Episode 18, Arena. Not the arena, Arena. And now, my friends, the only thing left to do is to talk about it. All right, my friends, we just got done watching Star Trek, the original series, Season 1, Episode 18, Arena. I really enjoyed... Here's what I enjoyed about Arena. Again, okay, here's the elephant in the room. Obviously, the Gorn suit really restricted movement. You could tell that, in an effort to make it realistic, and again, this is just a product of the times. So the Gorn outfit, the suit that the performer wore when he portrayed the Gorn, it didn't have any elements of articulation, at least anything noticeable. You could see where the suit itself was thinned around the elbows and around the knees, but definitely they weren't added like cutouts or anything like that to add truly articulated movement, which means you're fighting a resistance against whatever the material was of the costume. Most likely some type of, plastic, some, poly whatever, to whatever they used to kind of create this thing, which dramatically would restrict the performer's ability to do really anything, especially the shoulder movements. The shoulder movements, being able to lift the arms or, again, throw a punch, swing from the waist, the general movements needed for a fight like that just weren't there. And so we saw that. That's the elephant in the room, is that that was terrible. It was too slow. I'm honestly unsure why they didn't try to do a speed up there, kind of speed the film up a little bit just to make it a little bit more realistic. That in and of itself, it lends like a hookiness to it. And my thought with that is that was a device that was used quite a bit in like kung fu movies of the late 60s and early 70s, to speed up the film, to make the actors or the martial artists look a little bit faster, or the strikes to look lethal, even though they weren't, moving with the force needed. They sped it up to make it look powerful. I think that the problem with all of that is whenever you speed up the film, this is what I've been told by whenever I was around some of the guys that used to be, the older camera operators, especially in Westerns, like whenever they would try to make a stampede faster or things like that, like TV shows like The Virginian and things like that. When you would speed up the film, sure, your subjects would look faster, But the problem is with exterior shots, there's so many environmental things that it picks up all that extra movement. All of a sudden, if the wind is blowing, the grass is moving too fast, the dust is moving too fast. Anything from a bird flies by and it's zipping past. There's just a lot of other things that are going on. Now, if you're on a closed set or an interior location, then the speeding up isn't necessarily as hard to pull off. And again, I've never done it, but this is just what I've been told. So the speeding up was usually used for, choreographed fighting at the time, or again, like I said, something like stampeding or stampeding cattle and things like that, or horse races or horse movements. So it came off poorly. But then, the good idea there is to keep Jim separate, wound Jim with the rock that fell down on him, so he couldn't just run away. And, kind of force him into figuring it all out, but keep them from having any more physical confrontations, because that just looked really bad. And I'm sure they noticed it as soon as they filmed it. They're like, oh my God, this is so slow. So again, I'm not going to say, oh, that's a terrible moment. It wasn't executed great, but you could see where they pivoted immediately and were like, okay, listen, we can't have any more hand-to-hand fighting. It just doesn't look right. So let's try to, do traps and do more of a chase or a hunt, which is what they did. And it worked out really well. Again, the Gorn costume is also a product of the times. There's no articulation around the jaws. They did have a blink that was added in. I think that was it might have been practical. It might have been, but I only saw him do it one time, I think. So it might have been a CGI thing. I don't know though. But, I just take that away. The Gorn, the slowness of the Gorn, the Gorn outfit, all that stuff, take it away and just look at I'm looking at the principal part of the story, and it was a really good setup. You have what you believe to be an attacker that attacked your settlement. Turns out they viewed you as the invasionary force, which puts in a lot of themes that we see kind of later on in larger forms in Star Trek, like with the Borg, I think of First Contact and things like that. There's two different sides to every story. And if you put the Gorn in there as this, and the Borg are maybe a bad example, more like the Romulans or the Klingons, each person kind of has their own say and their own kind of definitely a stance, and definitely, the ability to really convey that their sovereignty is something that, is being attacked, as opposed to them being the aggressors. And so with the Gorn, making them look like a monster, making them, sound like a monster, and making them, absolutely responsible for the death of all of these, innocent Starfleet officers and families and things like that, then you immediately vilify them without knowing their motivations. Now, of course, Spock, who was able to remove himself from the emotional response of revenge or vengeance for the atrocities committed, was able to say, there might be something more at play here. Maybe diplomacy would work out. And of course, Kirk, being as fired up as he is most of the time, rightfully so, in this instance, said, no. They did this to us, then we must attack. In many ways, the parallel for me here is why I was thinking of the Virginian and why I was thinking of Westerns. Normally when you have this type of situation that was represented in this time, it would have been, in an Old West type of TV show, the settlers or the cowboys would go out and they might be attacked by Native Americans, and all the savage Native Americans attacked them, without any provocation. Well, other than invading their land and building on their land and attacking their people first. It's, of course, the savage Native Americans that would come back. And there's a very good parallel with that, in that, the way that the idea or the premise of the Native Americans back in that time was just it's pure savagery, just uncivilized. And of course, placing the Gorn in that type of outfit and that type of, just a lizard, just a her, it depicts, you shouldn't feel sympathy for this monster. And so it's not until the end that we find out that, they were responding to what they felt was an invasion. Absolutely justified if that is their space, which of course, they say at the top of the episode, we don't know much about this area. Okay, well, it's claimed apparently by the Gorn. And so, it's a really good, it's a thoughtful one, and I appreciate that part of it, in that it looks just to be kind of a fight episode, and you could say it's a fight episode, but there's way more going on about that kind of really addresses certain things that the Federation will have to take into consideration moving forward. You're not moving into the vastness of space that is unclaimed or unoccupied. You have to be aware of things beyond your awareness. Before just coming in and setting up a base, maybe take the time to suss out whether or not this place already has a flag claiming it. Someone had planted a flag somewhere, for the Empire of the Gorn or whatever it happens to be. So there's a lot of precedent set up, which leads me to my final point with all this. Boy, did we get a ton of awesome canonical data. Now, again, photon torpedoes, I don't remember them being mentioned at all in the series so far. We saw them mentioned and shot as a different variance on the phasers. Photons were fired. To my understanding, it's the first time that we've ever heard Starfleet mentioned as Starfleet. I could be wrong about that, but I don't remember them saying that actual phrase Starfleet before. So, the Metrons coming in at the end, another one of our kind of like supernatural Q level beings. I like the idea. I don't want to have too many of those, but I like the idea of those beings simply because much like Q said, you don't want to go too far and not know, there's out there'll be monsters. And now the Metrons weren't necessarily monsters. They were evolved beings, but they could kill you like that. And that in and of itself is a deadly approach. You need to be very cautious for numerous reasons whenever you expand out into the galaxy, whether or not you're expanding in a place that is inhabited or expanding into a place that might have a citizenry that is way more powerful than Starfleet and the Federation. So there was a lot of implications that were put into play. Plus, we had numbers of warps, and we got to figure out the top end speed of the Enterprise. Warp 8 is the highest that she went, and we were told that at warp 7 she'd start to not be able to sustain that for a while. And warp 8, everybody got very concerned about that. So we have a very good idea now of canonically how fast our Enterprise can go. A ton of great information. Really set the stage going forward for sort of first contact type of protocols when there isn't an identifiable recipient of the first contact. You come into an area of space, the question now must be, is this claimed by anybody? Is this the sovereign land of any empire or society? So it really kind of adds to the Federation and Starfleet's job, duty, and mission. Seek out new life and new civilizations. Better stick with that. Make sure that the place you're building on doesn't belong to somebody else. And so with that and Jim's ultimate act of mercy, we got to see the growth, and so did the Metrons, of the potential that lurks inside Starfleet and humanity itself. And I think that even surprised Spock a little bit, when mercy was on the table there at the end. Again, I've said it once and I'll say it a million times, my friends. Spock, when you absolutely positively need to have the best officer in Starfleet ever, accept no substitute. And now, my friends, we got to say goodbye from the bridge of the Enterprise. So as we're looking around at our fellow officers, and we realize we do have a 5-year mission, but this mission has a new added parameter. Hey, we just got to this place. Does it belong to anybody? My friends, we have a little bit more to go over with some identifiable tidbits about this episode that we didn't want to spoil or ruin for ourselves by learning them before watching. And the only person that can know everything all the time is Q. Q? Greetings, mon capitaines, and welcome to another installment of Q&A. Friends, this is where, having watched and reacted to an episode of the original series, I like to go back and see if there are any juicy tidbits from behind the scenes, things that would have ruined or spoiled the episode for me had I looked them up before. But now, during Q&A, we'll get at least some of the questions answered. All of these were brand new elements and brand new bits of trivia for me. I hope that at least one of them is new for you, and if so, Q and I have done our jobs. Now, let's get into it. Because I'm a talker, To streamline all of this, I have broken it down into 5 specific segments. The first, writers and directors. The second, who are our guest stars? Did we have any? 3, the core cast of the big 3, Spock, McCoy, and Kirk, and Sulu, Uhura, and Scotty. Who was present, who wasn't? And then production notes. That's where the fun stuff comes in, where we continue to learn the story behind the story of Star Trek, which I argue is every bit as compelling as the one they tell in front of the camera. And finally, normally our 5th segment was reserved for syndication cuts, but because we haven't had any of note for a while, I've kind of supplemented this section with memorable quotes. All right, my friends, let's get started. All right, my friends, let's get into writers and directors. Let's start with the writers. Much more on this down in the production notes, but right now our teleplay is credited to Gene Coon, and the story is credited to Frederick Brown. That's where we get into it. And now our director is a brand new director to Star Trek, but one that we should be getting ready to meet quite a bit in Joseph Pevney. Joseph apparently is an incredibly prolific The Original Series director who has tied Mark Daniels, whom we've known from Man Trap and a couple other offerings, as the director with the most Star Trek The Original Series credits under the belt. And I'll tell you this, I think I know why they had you back. And this isn't in the production notes, but a little added note. This shoot for Arena was slated for 7 days. Joseph got it done in 6. Unheard of, everybody, unheard of. With an exterior location, a script that we'll learn about in the production notes. This was a hell of a feat. And I'm pretty sure I'm not going out on a limb when that's probably why Joseph was asked back. The ability to overcome an incredible obstacle and get to 6 days instead of 7. Unheard of. Now, our next section is guest stars. Who did we have guest starring? Well, we had initially, the first person we see is our lone survivor down on the outpost in Harold. Harold is played by Tom Troop, and he served as the bridge to let us know exactly what the Gorn's machinations were about, and also the luring of the Enterprise, kind of syncing that up time-wise. So a very important character. And anytime somebody's the lone survivor of anything, I always think, boy, that would be a great follow-up story at some point, but I'm sure we don't see anything more from Harold. Now, here's where we get a little bit into the weeds, because our only other 2 guest stars of note are the Metron and the Gorn Captain, both of which are portrayed and compiled by multiple actors. Let's start with the Gorn Captain. Apparently, they had filmed a lot of interior scenes with the Gorn Captain where he was on the bridge of his ship, which I would have liked to have seen that dynamic and actually see, like, the Gorn culture at play, at least through the, the creative vision of Gene Coon and Joseph Pevney and the rest of the creatives. I think that would have been very interesting, but alas, that was not used. Now, during these closer scenes, just the head of the Gorn Captain was used, and that was normally played by William Blackburn, who did all of the close-ups for the Gorn Captain. Now, any distance shots, there were 2 Gorn suits that were made. Each of those were worn by stuntmen, Bobby Clark and Gary Combs. They were the ones that anytime we would see, on location, in the exterior shots, the Gorn Captain, those 2 stuntmen were the ones that were controlling the action. Of course, as suspected, they both complained that the articulation of the Gorn Captain was woefully inadequate for them to be able to do any type of choreography. And the thing that I didn't really think of, they said that they had to go even slower because they couldn't see a thing in that the mask or the head of the Gorn Captain. So as suspected as well, the choreography was dramatically underwhelming, so they pivoted away smartly, and they made it into more of a hunt and a chase as opposed to hand-to-hand combat, which worked out a lot better. Now, again, those were all of our who did we see as the Gorn Captain. Now, who did we hear as the Gorn Captain? And it is none other than our guy, Ted Cassidy, who has come back yet again to provide us with another voice, this time for the Gorn Captain. Ted Cassidy also playing our large automaton inside What Are Little Girls Made Of? But that incredible baritone voice, and in this time, lizarded up a little bit to play the Gorn. Excellent work by Ted Cassidy. I love that they keep using him, too. It's a great, great thing. And then finally, the Metron is our other guest star. The physical appearance of the Metron was played by Carol Shalin. Now, Carol was, I think I pronounced her last name right, Shalin. She portrayed just the exterior, the visual component of the Metron that we saw. And the voice of the Metron was given to us by Vic Perrin. So a lot of actors, a lot of compiling to create these two characters, and I think both of them worked well enough for the episode to not be drugged down by them, but also be supported by the performances, which is interesting because, a Gorn captain, other than the voice provided by Cassidy, didn't really have a lot to do other than be a menace, but it worked. It worked. And so, good job, everyone involved. Now, our next section, core cast. This one's easy. All hands present and accounted for. We had everybody here, which was nice. And now for our production notes. Here's where things get interesting, as they always do, my friends. So for the production, we had a couple firsts for Star Trek. Really huge, kind of lore-defining, world-creating firsts. This is the first episode to use the term Federation. Now, not Federation of Planets. I saw a little blurb that said that comes later, but the Federation is mentioned for the first time in Arena. Another first for the Arena was the use of the actual delivering of the term photon torpedo and the use of a photon torpedo. Now, for our next production note, this is where we return to the scene of the crime being shore leave for our exterior locations. And I say scene of the crime because shore leave was plagued with rewrites that were occurring during production. But again, I thought shore leave came off pretty well. But I wonder if anything similar happened during Arena. We'll see in a second or two. Now, again, this was Vasquez Rock's Natural Area Park, and it was most prominently displayed, and people were able to pick it up by the large ledge-like rocks that kind of angled up and away to a point that Kirk was running up to escape the Gorn. In addition to that, here's where we go, my friends. So I'm going to give you the facts, and I'm going to let you determine what you think occurred in all of this. So let's just give the facts at hand. I'm not going to flavor this with any opinion. You all come to your own conclusions. Arena was written over a weekend by Gene Coon when several other contracted writers failed to produce a script in a timely manner. They were giving, 6 weeks to get a script together, and several writers were working on them, but none of them had them ready for the next shoot. They were all thinking that they were coming later in the sequence or later in the season, so nothing was done. So on a Friday afternoon, Gene Coon was given the task of writing an episode. Strangely enough, by Monday morning, Gene Coon had a full episode ready to go. I'll give you the facts right now. Come to your own conclusions. Gene Coon was an avid reader of Astounding Science Fiction magazine. After receiving his script, Joan Pierce, the Star Trek script reviewer, noted some very strong similarities between Gene Coon's script and the Frederick Brown story Arena, which appeared in Astounding Science Fiction magazine in 1944. In a last-ditch effort, Desilu reached out to Brown to buy the rights of his story to produce and did not tell him that they already had a script written. Luckily, Brown accepted the offer, provided he also receive and be recognized with a story credit, which he was given. Take that what you will, my friends. Now, our last point after the writing. And again, the writing, I should also mention, was ongoing as far as rewrites during the production week. So Joseph Pevney, the director, coming in at 6 days instead of the 7 that they thought they would need. Amazing job, considering rewrites were going on day of. Now, our very last point for the production notes, and I think this is incredibly interesting, and I'm curious as to why it was cut, because I think it adds a sinister nature to the episode and also reveals just how much Kirk's act of mercy was relevant to the story. We had the Metrons praising him for his mercy, but I like the addition of this line that was redacted. During that scene between Kirk and the Metron, and it was unused, it was filmed, but in an untitled, unused segment of that conversation, the Metron reveals that they intended to destroy not the loser of the battle, but the winner. The winner, then, they deemed would be a greater threat to them. I thought that was incredibly interesting because you have these Metrons that are almost given as a Q-esque, like a good Q type of, they have the power to teleport people at will, which I always associate with Q and now Trelane. And now the Metrons, but that level of power, but they were also seemed to be benevolent and almost like justice driven. You showed mercy, a higher quality. When in actuality, this was a weeding out test to see who was the bigger threat for the Metrons, so they could axe them. And it was only the mercy that gave them pause, because they thought, oh well, perhaps in 1,000 years, then you'll be wise enough to talk with us. And I thought that in and of itself added such a twinge of sinister, premonition, that it would have been really interesting to have that in there. For whatever reason, it was cut, my friends. And now our last kind of hybrid note is syndication cuts. We didn't have any of note in this episode, at least none that I was able to uncover. So again, I've supplemented this I've supplemented this section with memorable quotes. And here's the memorable quote from this episode. It is an exchange between Kirk and Spock. Kirk says, "We're a most promising species, Mr. Spock, as predators go. Did you know that?" Spock responds, "I've frequently had my doubts." Kirk says, "I don't. Not anymore." Friends, thus ends another episode of Q&A. And until we meet again, behave.